Hello and welcome to the Charmed Life podcast. This podcast is all about magic, metaphysics, mysticism, and the unconditional love of the universe. And my name is Tricia Carr. I am your host here. And I want to welcome you if it is your first time or one of the few times that you have been here, and invite you, if you do like it, to come back. I'm doing at least one episode a week. And if you want to leave us a review, that would be fantastic. And if you are a longer time listener, well, thank you. My heart is so full of the love that we create together when we all come together. And even this is us coming together. So thank you for being here. And I am a teacher. I am an empathic channel, which means that I channel divine energies through with my whole energy body, through the portal of the empathic channel. And so I help people in one-on-one sessions. I actually just opened up my book for one-on-one sessions again. I was on a moratorium with that for just a little while as I looked at other things. And I think also as my calling about working one-on-one shifted to, a way that was, for me, evolved, I guess you would say. And so, yes, I do have one-on-one sessions available now. If you would like to work with me as an intuitive, as an empathic channel, and check out my services page. The link is in the description, but you can go to my website triciacarcharm.com, and you'll find it under Work With Me, and it will say one-on-one sessions. But I'm also an animal telepath and healer, and those sessions have also been on moratorium for a while. Those are actually so amazing. Yet at the same time, they actually require extra time for me, because the way that works is I actually have a session with the animal individually, one-on-one, remotely though. Because telepathy works whether you're in person or not, or in dog, or in cat, or in horse, or not. It doesn't require proximity. So I actually have the one-on-one session with the animal first, and then I get on the call with their human. And so it takes more time. As much as I love it, it does require more actual resource of time. Yet it is open on my calendar as well. So once again, triciacarcharm.com if you want to check that out. But more importantly than all of that is, of course, I'm a podcaster, and I'm a teacher, and I teach with Lightshine Academy as well as my Mystic Arts Academy. And so is my guest of this episode, a spiritual teacher, and also an author. And so my guest for this episode is David Gandelman. And David, as you will probably be able to hear in this conversation, is one of my best friends, one of my greatest friends. And so we crack ourselves up all throughout this conversation. David has just released his amazing book, The 7 Energies of the Soul: Awaken Your Inner Creator, Healer, Warrior, Lover, Artist, Explorer, and Master. So David Gandelman has this wonderful book that I deeply encourage you to check out. Link is in the description, as well as his meditation school app right there in your pocket. All kinds of amazing content to help you to open your consciousness, expand, and to be able to move into a deeper relationship with your own energy of your soul through meditation. And so check that out as well. But first, before you check those things out, please enjoy this tour of all things silly and fun and inspiring with David Gandelman, and I will chat with you on the other side. David Gandelman is here again. Oh my gosh, I miss you though. It feels like the pandemic has been extra long in our relationship, because you also moved away, and I didn't get to see you, and I don't know. And you have a cat now. You're a cat daddy, and just so many things have happened. I miss you.
You too. Oh, I miss you too, Tricia. It's been a while. I really miss being in the studio with you. We used to do some co-working sessions where we mostly would just play and mess around, and
then spend like an hour like next to each other on the couch doing this, just typing, and then we start talking again. Yeah, that was fun. So
that was fun. And now I'm in the mountains somewhere, hidden away.
Much better air quality.
Yes.
So you have so many things going on though. We have the app to talk about. We have Da, 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 the book. I'm very excited about it. And I just got it, so I haven't had a chance to read it yet. But I was also a part of helping you select the cover, in that you picked the one that I didn't pick. You showed me a few and I picked another one and you said, well, I'm doing this one. It's like that thing when that women do when they go to their boyfriend and they say, which outfit? And then they pick the opposite one. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. So you have so much going on. Where should we start? Let's start with, we're going to talk about the book. We're going to talk about the meditation school app. But I also want to talk about let's do an energy update. Like, what the heck is going on? Because you're a spiritual teacher, you're an intuitive, and there's so much changing. And do you, like many people do, feel almost this kind of, we're on the edge of some kind of prophetic shift? Something is about to crack or move or something. Maybe it's Russia and Ukraine. I don't know. Something's about to go off in some way.
Yeah. Your border keeps approaching our army. Back away. Yeah. That's what everyone was telling me in 2012 too.
Well, yeah.
That everything was about to crack and shift. And I think I see the world a little bit more like a plurality, like a whole bunch of planets on one. Did you ever see that? What is that science fiction movie where they make this space station above Earth, and then over like hundreds of years, there's like 1,000 species that come to it, and it becomes massive. It's called Valerian, I think. Oh my God, it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I see it like that. Like there are pockets of this planet where people are awakening spiritually and growing and making massive shifts. And then there are places, I've lived on a lot of places on this planet, and there's spots where it's like the year 1450, and you wouldn't believe how dark and heavy and backwards it seems. And then there are places like in Japan where it feels like it's 50 years in the future from now. So and then you go to Ukraine and they're on the brink of war. You go to Hollywood and it's just, the energy is so different. So I don't know. I think that maybe the media makes us feel that way, that we're always on the brink and on the edge. It's like this endless suspense film, because that's how they pull in their profits, is by making us feel this way. But I think that it's more of a plurality. And so I don't know if there's like one direction we're all going in. But I think if people feel that way, maybe they're matching too much of that intensity, like the whole world's about to fall apart. There's actually a really good book called Factfulness. And by almost every single measure, when it comes to like healthcare and GDP and lifespan, everything, this is the best moment it's ever been to be alive on Earth.
Oh, yeah.
The life expectancy up until the year 1900, I think, was about 42. Right. And in 100 years, we've doubled that.
And you know what? Probably the main reason why? Vaccine therapy, by the way. But we can move forward.
I'm sure that vaccines have helped, all sorts of medicines, right? So antibiotics, right? Yeah, without a doubt, and lifestyle changes. So there's a lot to be said for that. If you're like, hey, David, how about doubling your lifespan? If it was the year 1870, I'd be like, heck yeah, 40 years feels like a really short freaking time.
Yeah.
So,
I don't want to double it now, though. I don't want to live to be like 160.
I have friends that their goal is to live to 150. And they believe that with some of these new technologies, they'll be able to slow down aging at a certain point.
But that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking necessarily about Armageddon. Like that,
okay.
Even that people are even entertaining it. That plus things that you're into, like VR, the metaverse, Web 3.0. There's things that are shifting. The way that things shifted the last 20 years, it feels like we're on a big, I mean, the cycle of evolution, at least so far as technology is concerned, has tightened. The cycles have gotten faster.
Yeah.
From the industrial age to the information age. And the information age has moved, I don't know, 10 times as fast, at least, as the industrial age, right? And it seems like every year it's exponentially faster. That's what I'm referring to. There's something that we're on the precipice of, some kind of shift.
I agree. I think the exponential factor also will have a limit, at some
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Because of our human bodies, probably, yeah.
Yeah, we have limitations, so I think there'll be a limit to that as well at a certain point, and it'll stop
But we
the
haven't
curve will
found it
change.
yet. Right.
No, we haven't found it yet. But, I've been alive a little while, and things have changed a lot, and at the same time, a lot hasn't changed at all. So, it feels like it's going too fast and sometimes too slow. There's, like, this
Yeah,
paradox to it?
totally.
And I'm a nerd when it comes to the tech stuff. I think if used properly, it could do a lot of good. So, I'm excited about some of the medicines and
Mhm.
technologies, and, I'm not excited about the metaverse at this point. I don't understand what it is. I don't really get cryptocurrency that much. I try. So there are things that are a little beyond me, like Web3, but we'll see how they form. I think no matter
Mhm.
what technology we invent, we'll probably still have the same human conditions of like not having and feeling like we have enough love or feeling envy
Oh,
or
yeah.
greed or jealousy or, you know, uh, fighting a change. So those human conditions probably won't change anytime soon, even if the tech does. And yeah, I mean, our phones have made us crack addicts and, we want immediate gratification. There's definitely downsides to all of this change as well. I think that's why what me and you do is probably so important
Mhm.
to help people balance all of that out and not just become a
Yeah.
walking cyborg.
Yeah. And so but the eye is, like, in your hip pocket.
Yeah. We will have intimacy through our phones.
Yeah. Actually, Ellen DeGeneres and her wife, Portia, de Rossi, I remember one of them talking about how they sit on the other ends of the couch and they text one another back funny animal videos.
I don't
That's
like
their
that.
lovemaking now, I guess, but no, well, that's true, but yes, absolutely, the thing is the human form, the body, as well as which is seamlessly attached to the mind and, it evolves very slowly, and it that's so if technology is moving so quickly and the human body, human form doesn't keep up to it, it's actually that we'll find that limit, but it still creates this paradox or this compression where things are just gonna feel a little funny, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Even in the meditation space, like I've been
Mhm.
approached by companies with EEG scanning technology
Yeah.
that comes with an app and wanting me to promote it. And I tried using them. It's supposed to be so advanced and tell you, when you're meditating well and when you're not with biofeedback. And I was like, nah, this doesn't work.
And that's like
Not,
that's like saying you have a computer that will tell you when your painting is good, when you're
yeah.
when the song is art, and it's like, well, no, that's you've missed the point."
Yeah, like having a machine tell you I think for some beginners it could be useful, but for like, I mean, I'll always be a beginner in some sense for sure, but it didn't feel like it had any relevant value for me. Whereas
Mhm.
maybe the Aura Ring, the, sleep ring, I don't know if you've seen
Mhm.
that one. That one I do like, measuring
Yeah.
sleep, and I think some things, if we measure them properly, we manage them better. But,
Mhm.
there's other stuff that 5 years ago people were saying was gonna just be everywhere. Everyone's going to be using headbands for meditation, and this the thing, and just didn't really happen because we still just need to sit still. you know.
Yeah. And we need to be in we what the whole point of it is to be well, not the whole point, but one of the major points is to be masterful over ourselves, you know what I mean? To be the in the mastery position, and well, Brian, my husband, has been telling me, like, you gotta look at VR, and he showed me some article or some post where someone said, I just did my first VR meditation and I will never do it any other way again. He goes, see, I told you. And I'm like, and you brought the VR
So
glasses
you're
here
yeah.
a couple years ago, and I was like, I'm afraid of it. I don't know what it's gonna do to brains and people. You know what I mean? Like we already aren't being embodied enough, but I don't know.
Uh,
That's
agreed. I mean, I have VR, but, after 20 minutes, my brain is like, "Yeah, no more." So I'm
yeah.
done. I think I thought it would be more addictive than it is. It's not actually as addictive as I expected it to be, because like it's like overstimulation, you know.
Well, I had it on 20 seconds, and I was like, I don't want it anymore. And you're like, no, stay with it longer.
Well, I
I
put you
mean,
into space. Yeah, you can go into the International Space Station and float around. And I have a friend who has a VR company that is working with medical schools to teach students how to do surgery and the anatomy of the body. You can hold every organ, right,
mm,
without having to use a cadaver every time. That's incredible. So
yeah.
it's got, and for pilots, there's going to be some amazing stuff. There's an app called Trip that a friend of mine helps run that is like a meditation experience. And I think it could be useful to bring down somebody's blood pressure and make them calmer. But I
Hmm.
don't think any technology will ever be able to give us enlightenment. You
Oh,
know,
that's a good. Well, of course not. That you
so
just said that. We're gonna.
yeah, it depends
Who's
what the
gonna meme
goal is.
that? That
Yeah.
needs to be meme, and it needs to be made into an NFT today.
I'm gonna sell that quote right now. Yeah. I think Oprah's always like, that's a tweetable moment.
Twitter's so over.
That's like saying that to me is like being in bed with somebody naked and you're like, "You're naked," and you're like, and then you're like, "You just ruined the moment by saying that."
Yeah, but yes, no technology. How'd you say it? I don't think there's any technology that's going to give us enlightenment.
Yeah, I don't think any
Right.
technology will ever be capable of helping us wake up out of this dream. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Well, I think some other applications could be for helping PTSD, because just think of something like EMDR. It's the eye movement therapy, and so like a VR could really help with that, to help to rewire the neurotransmitters, things like that. But those are interventions, which is what technology really is good at. Medicine as a technology is good at intervention, but it's not going to ever keep us in a flow of well-being. It's not going to make us healthy necessarily.
Yeah, I think it's great. Like I said, I'm a huge proponent. I love the techie stuff, and I think we need to recognize its limits because we
Hmm.
can look at technology and start to have a savior complex with tech, the way we do with like a Jesus or spiritual figure, right?
Hmm.
Or a lot of people now with aliens. So the
Hmm.
aliens will save us,
Hmm.
or Jesus will save us, or the technology will save us, right? Or
Yeah.
even, why not the other end of the spectrum? Screw all technology, screw all of that. The only thing that will save us will is to live in teepees naked in nature. That's the
That
only
sounds
thing that will save us.
amazing.
That sounds great too. But I think that attitude in general, it doesn't matter what the external source is still this move to an external source will
Yeah.
save us, or save me. Or maybe it's a partner, right?
Hmm.
So I think it's good to check in and go, where is that feeling coming from? And then before the show started, we were talking a little bit conspiracy theory stuff,
Hmm.
joking about it. And that's another way of,
Yeah.
right, but a little bit of the opposite end of blaming, of that
Hmm.
victim consciousness of there's a cabal, these billionaires, horrible
Hmm.
people control everything. They're going to put nanobots in us or whatever the heck they're going to do to us, and that, they're owning our brains.
Hmm.
That's like the other end of the spectrum of being afraid of the world. I don't think that's healthy either, and I don't even think it's that true. I have a friend who comes from that kind of money, and he said, "Listen, I know every billionaire in New York. We all hate each other. We don't have meetings about controlling the world. We can't even agree on dinner." And by the way, I'm not like hanging out with billionaires all the time or anything.
You're
This
hanging
is
out with
this.
everyone. You've said my buddy who owns this, my friend who runs that, my buddy
Wait,
who's this.
which owns what? Well, what did I say? I don't even
I don't
remember.
know. Your friend runs Trip, and then somebody, I don't know. You said
Mm.
you've cited a
Yes,
few
yes.
friends in this
Yeah,
episode.
yeah.
But who
Uh,
doesn't want to be your friend, though? I believe you 100%.
yeah, that's right. My
Mhm.
buddy helps run that company Trip,
Yeah.
TRIPP, really cool in the Oculus store.
Okay.
If you want if you want to feel like you're on mushrooms
I
and
don't.
not have to take them, then check out Trip.
Okay. Well, but like what you're saying, really seeking outside for authority or seeking outside for mastery, whether that's by saying, it really comes down to honestly coming of age. It does, because it's like we're still our inner child who have parents who failed us. And I'm not being superior in this, because damn it if I wasn't meditating yesterday, figuring out how I needed to release some stuff about my mom. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't even talk to her. So,
Yeah.
it's all of us. But yeah, that's what that boils down to is I have a good daddy who's going to save me, or I have a bad daddy who I need to, expose for all of his wrongdoing, which is why meditation makes us our own daddy. Who's your daddy, David? And now for these messages. Hey guys, it's Tricia Carr. I have new exciting things going on with my Mystic Arts Academy. You can now subscribe to receive all of the live monthly content for about a third of the investment of a single class. Included are at least one downloadable guided meditation per month, 2 live events ranging from classes, channeled messages, group readings, intuitive development guidance, Q&A sessions, and tons of community. You'll also have access to a private Facebook community for fellowship and support, and this space is kept super sacred and high vibrational. Your subscription gives you access to the whole library of classes and live events, which are on a vast array of topics. All events are offered online by Zoom video call. Subscribing to the Mystic Arts Academy is also a way for you to support the Charmed Life podcast and engage on a deeper level. I'm offering the subscription at a super low rate of $22 a month. Joining now locks in this rate for as long as you're subscribed. Click on the description of this episode or go to my website, triciacarcharm.com, and click on Mystic Arts Academy. I look forward to connecting. Hi everyone, it's Tricia, and if you have been listening to my podcast for a while or watching me on YouTube, then perhaps you already have an idea of what it is that I do. And I want to invite you to do it one-on-one because I actually haven't been doing one-on-one sessions regularly or for a while, but I have a new romance that I've developed with doing my one-on-one sessions. And so this is a special invitation to people who feel aligned with the work, the teaching that I share, and you think you would feel aligned with working with me, because I am particular about the frequency that I cast out for those that I work one-on-one with. Well, I have now open on my schedule empathic channeling sessions, which include channeling, intuitive reading, of course, my proprietary modality, quantum resonance healing. It would also include intuitive counseling and mentoring, spiritual education, possibly hypnotherapy and hypnohealing, plus NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And I have a few different categories of the way that I am offering these sessions. So go check out my website. That's triciacarcharm.com. And you'll find empathic channeling. You'll find one-on-one sessions. And in addition to that, I've also opened up space and charged up my sacred space for animal telepathy and healing sessions. These are one-on-one with your animal and you, and I have it available with 1 animal, 2 animals, 3 animals, and anything more than that. We can do a special farm, sanctuary, or rescue appointment. Those are also available, and I love that work so much. So with that, I want to invite you to check those out because I'm very passionate about signaling to those people that are interested in working with me, but also we can expand together in this beautiful world. So thank you so much. Check it out. I hope to see you soon.
Well, I'm a cat daddy, so I am also a daddy. That's a good question. I think I've told you this on a previous episode, but I used to be a guru chaser living in India.
Exactly.
So I would go after the bearded, older, sages that I thought would save me. That was my game that I played for a while and was very much into. Had them all the pictures in my pocket like baseball cards. And I had, but I was also, let's say 25 and just getting out into the world going, yeah, who's my daddy? What am I, who's going to save me? Why am I here? Who knows the answers? First, I went to my philosophy professors, and I went to politicians. Then I went to the Eastern gurus, and then I went to Hawaii. It was more of a complex for me than it was about whatever was the external source. So I had to, it was a stage of growth. It was a stage I had to grow out of. And now that I'm like, quote unquote, the teacher, or in, running a business, I have like 20 people that help me with stuff. The quote unquote boss. all of a sudden they're looking to me and I'm going, I don't know anything. But someone's gotta, make this ship move in a direction. And
Yeah.
so you just start to mature into a role. I think
Mhm.
the problems start to arise when you start to believe that you're that role. Like, I'm the spiritual teacher, I'm the CEO, and I know all. That's when shit's going to take a bad turn. And so I try to surround myself with people like you who would slap me upside the head if that ever happened.
That would never happen. You wouldn't overly identify to any position of authority. You're too goofy.
I think
There's no
I
humor in that.
I lean a little, that's true, and I lean a little bit more towards insecurity than, we all either inflate or deflate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have an insecurity, we inflate, like, I'm better than everybody to cover that
Mhm.
insecurity, or we deflate, not good enough. I'm a bit more of a deflator than an inflator.
You're a deflator mouse. Yes, that it's kind of like the narcissistic codependent spectrum or the empath narcissistic spectrum, I actually just made I was talking on Instagram about that. Like basically what narcissists and codependents have in common is unhealthy attachment. That's it. That's what it is. It's kind of like whether there's
I was in
inflation
a
or
relationship
deflation.
once where I felt like I was the more deflated codependent, and then the other person was the more inflated.
Hmm.
And there's that kind of that a dynamic that happens there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
And
happened.
that me too. I am really surprised that I did pick a partner, my husband, Brian, who is very neutral in either the codependent or narcissistic spectrum. He's like right in the I think he's right. If anything, he could sometimes favor the needing a little more confidence, but there's obviously healthy well, no, the word codependent just by its nature doesn't it is unhealthy, but there's healthy
Yeah,
dependency, there's healthy interdependence, and there's healthy
sure.
dependence, and depending on one another and being devoted to one another and being interdependent. So you're sacrificing something that is less important that you want or think or identify to for something that's more important for a greater good or for a relationship. And narcissism, that's just receiving gratification from outside. And that's obviously that's okay.
Yeah.
you know, that feels good.
Yeah, it sounds like Brian's also more of a secure attachment style, which is, yeah, healthy.
Hmm.
Gotta get that book Attachment and, take the quiz in the book and find out what your attachment style is. I always tell people to do that.
You're
Really,
anxious
really cool.
attacher, right?
I think, I took it and I'm actually all 3. You
Oh,
can,
well, that's good.
yeah, yeah, you can have all of them,
Hmm.
and it can change over time. So I
Hmm.
feel like I used to be anxious and much more of an anxious attachment style. I probably swung a little bit to avoidant, and it's good to like always check in and
Hmm.
see where you're at, and maybe you behave differently with different people as
Yeah.
well. So I think it's fluid. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. Well, I only said that because you had said that to me once before, not because I was diagnosing you. You're definitely anxious. You
Yeah,
just told
yeah.
me
I'm
before
just saying, yeah. I
that you
I
assessed
would
yourself.
I would say that, always a work in progress for sure, and
Mhm.
I always wonder if we all had our own Amazon reviews from our ex-partners, what they would say.
Ugh. Well, speaking of a work that is complete and also is accepting Amazon reviews, let's talk about the book. The Seven
I got
Energies
one
of the
too.
Soul. For those of you listening, we're both waving it at the cameras. The beautiful solar plexus and sacral color and root colored book cover, and it is The Seven Energies of the Soul: Awaken Your Inner Creator, Healer, Warrior, Lover, Artist, Explorer, and Master by David Gandelman. So let's talk about the soul, shall we?
There it is. Sure.
How
The
wonderful. Tell us all about it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, well, the analogy I like to use is when white light passes through a prism,
Hmm.
it refracts into the 7 main colors of the rainbow, right?
Yeah.
Now, yes, there are thousands of colors with combinations, but that's kind of how I see those 7 energies. So the light of your awareness passes through your human form. And every time you take action in the world, you're deciding how you want to show up, what you want to create. And so in this moment, am I showing up as a creator, as a healer, as a lover, a warrior, an artist? What kind of energy am I manifesting into the world? And then when we go to do that, kind of what we're talking about with attachment styles, we can be deficient or we can go into excess with each of these. So maybe you become a workaholic. So you're an excessive creator, or you shut your heart down to relationships. So you're a deficient lover, or you're obsessed with your art and you think it's the only thing that matters, and you've become an excessive artist. So in all of these energies, or maybe you get the guru complex. I have a channel to God, I know all. Right now you're an excessive master energy. So we all have these tendencies with each one, and the premise of the book, and hopefully what it can help people with, is recognize where they're deficient, where they're in excess, balance each energy, and really live up to their potential with all of them. Because I think happiness is a byproduct of balance and fulfillment.
Mhm.
It's not like one thing all the time. It's a mix. It's like a good meal, like just the right recipe at the right temperature with the right people, you know?
Yes, that's brilliant. That's because I didn't even realize we were talking about the narcissistic codependency spectrum, and you want to be balanced in that polarity, and everything is paradox and polarity. I think the closer that we get to paradox, the closer we get to God, and
Yeah.
but it is also fluid, like you're saying. That I can't remember what you just said was fluid, but this is fluid as well. Like where you are in the spectrum of any of these energies of the soul would be fluid. So you might
Yeah.
be, and there's actually nothing wrong with that. You might be a little more excessive at one point. It's a mosaic that,
Yeah.
so it's not like everything has to be neutralized. It's more about how it's flowing, so that there doesn't become a buildup of energy in one area, or a stagnation of energy in some area, right? That's how a healthy body would work.
Exactly. So we created a quiz for it. We could maybe put it in your show
Oh,
notes,
yeah, sure.
and it helps you find out which energies are more dominant and which ones less so. And so I have all the statistics. I think over 1,000 people have already taken it since last week. And the number one energy that's come in, can you guess?
That come in like it's more
The
excessive,
most dominant
most
for people.
dominant. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to have to guess.
Yeah. Guess.
Uh, okay.
Dun, 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 dun,
Well, it's
dun,
so hard
dun.
because I feel like from you, I
Remember,
would,
it's a
mhm.
self-selecting audience, and my audience is similar to yours.
Yeah, I was going to say creator, but you attract lovers. So that's why.
Yes. So, all right. So here's the answer. The first one
Okay.
is healer. Second one is lover.
Okay. Oh, well,
Uh,
yeah,
s-
healer. You know what? I think of creator and healer almost, I feel like they're almost the same, but maybe, yeah,
s-
I get the nuances. Yeah.
yeah. So a creator would be the energy of doing, making,
Hmm.
building, somebody maybe entrepreneurial, taking action.
Hmm.
And the healer is the energy in us, the way I frame it anyway, that wants to fix, that
Yeah.
wants to feel, that wants to make everyone feel whole and feel safe and okay. And very maybe empathic. So the
Hmm.
excessive healer is maybe too empathic, which a lot of your students suffer from, as do
Hmm.
mine, always absorbing too much of the negativity of the world. So bringing that into balance. So the healer was the first one, and then the lover was the second. The
Oh.
part of us that wants to be in relationship, to feel oneness, to feel affinity, right?
Hmm.
To give and to receive love in a healthy, balanced way. So those are the top two. But again, it's a very self-selecting audience. If you sent it to the U.S. military and they all took the test, you'd get a lot of warriors, right?
Warriors, yeah. I
Yeah.
know, I was gonna tease you a minute ago and say, "Well, you're coming off a bit excessively warrior-like to me right now, David Gandelman."
Yeah. So, in terms of like enneagrams or astrology or
Mhm,
numerology, you have a type, you have a number,
mhm,
you have a birth date. And I wanted to make it opposite in the sense that you're
mhm,
all of them. And the
mhm.
goal is not to be one in a dominant way, it's to be all of them and to integrate all of them.
Yeah.
And so there's meditations and action steps and questions journaling in the book to help people kind of work on each aspect. And then I created a free meditation series to go along with it. So
Ooh,
hope
where's that
hope
published?
I I'm emailing it out to my email list, and it will be on my app, Meditation School.
Awesome. Well, that's a good segue. Meditation School, the app with David Gandelman.
Yeah.
What's going on
Gosh,
there?
building an app was harder than I thought. Yeah.
Yes, I am working on it, so I know.
Yeah,
Mm,
that's where I put a lot of my content these days. I teach live every month, and I have a hypnotherapist who Desi,
mhm,
who teaches there alongside me. And I also work with Insight Timer, that meditation app, a lot. That's
mhm.
probably where I would say I reach the most amount of my students, and where they tend to find me. So I don't care, where they go, as long as they get something good that helps them. But I wanted my own meditation app because I love, creating what I want to create.
Mhm.
I'm an excessive creator sometimes, and I really want to own my creations and not have anyone
Yeah.
else tell me what I can or can't do, what their boundaries are. I say profane things on occasion. And so I just wanted my own thing with my own space. Nobody could tell me what I could or couldn't do. And that's how I always like to do stuff. So that's why I made my own app.
Well, what do they have there? So you teach live once per month, and what else? And Desi is leading
Desi does
hypno
too.
journeys here and there. Right?
Yeah, and
Did
then
sh
there's
once per month?
hu
Mhm,
yeah, once per month now, and
mhm.
there's hundreds of hours of content from, like, anxiety to sleep to spiritual stuff, relationships, the whole spectrum of content, intuitive energy stuff, pretty much everything.
Just
Yeah.
available at, like, at all
Yeah,
times? So you just go in and you
yeah,
search and find what it is that you want? Yeah.
yeah, it's
I mean
all based on categories.
yeah. And then the, live teaching it's done, like, on Zoom and then published on the app?
Exactly. Yeah,
Mhm,
we do it live, and then within 24 hours, it's on the app. I send it out to my email list, and I like to have a mix. Obviously, not everyone can make it live. I'm sure you have the
mhm.
same experience, but it's
Well, yeah.
great to be live for people to ask questions. Just there's something about the energy of it versus just talking to a microphone in a room alone. It gets a little stale after a while. Oh, and then, I just had a course come out. It's actually on Insight Timer and on the Meditation School app, Attracting Your Soulmate series. It came out on Valentine's Day. It's a 14-part audio series.
Oh,
Uh, I
cute.
really I released a free series on money because I didn't wanna
Mhm.
charge for money stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, just felt weird. So the,
Mhm,
7 relationships with money, that
mhm.
seems to be popular. It's a issue. Money relationships are always 2 questions I get a lot, from my students about, and then also sleep.
Yeah, it's, you don't really do one-on-ones anymore, but for years and years, you were doing one-on-ones as an intuitive reader and clairvoyant and coach and mentor, but really mostly intuitive, support, right? Is that what
Mhm.
you'd say? Yeah. And
Yeah, and then
and
it morphed into more coaching and
yeah,
counseling. Yeah.
right. And then when you get those people who show up and they paid for your session and then they're there because they don't make enough money, and you're like
And then you feel bad.
then you
Yeah.
you're like, "Wow, I gotta let divinity step in here because the human part of me." But yeah, so that
Well,
makes sense why you don't wanna
what
charge for money things.
I know. Well, what I would say about that is when I didn't have enough money, I did invest in a business coach, and it was a stretch for me,
Mm.
and I don't
Oh,
think
yeah, for sure.
I never would have gotten anywhere without doing that. I just
Mhm,
needed somebody to help and show me the path because it wasn't my strength, and so, yes, someone might invest some hundreds of dollars to hang out with me, but I hope that, or I don't do it much anymore, but that I would give them the impact, that it would give them a nice return if they're
mhm,
willing to do the work.
yeah.
Why not get a 10 or 100x return by really doing the work? And as long as what they're doing is similar enough to what I've done, so I could have some insight. If you're like, I'm going to
Mm.
start an insurance company, I'm like, all right, well, we can work on your insights, but I have no information on how to navigate that world.
You probably have a cousin who does though, right?
Oh, yeah, my uncle. Yeah, for sure. I know everybody. I'm Jewish. We have a whole network. You need a
Someone in the
lawyer,
Gandelman clan.
you need a lawyer, you need a doctor, you need an accountant, you need an engineer. You call me,
Insurance.
Gandelman and Lebowitz, 1-800, what do you need?
And then you're the white sheep of the family with your 7 energies of the soul meditation school.
And, my brother is too, because he's
Oh,
a
yeah.
hemp and marijuana farmer,
Mhm.
and entrepreneur as well. So I think we're
Mhm.
both kind of sheeps in that, black, white sheeps in that regard. Yeah. But I would, yeah, since I went to school for magic in Hawaii, that would probably give me the award.
I remember, I think you said one time some relative of yours said something to you at a gathering, something like, what you have to tell something about, like,
Yeah.
they just pay you to talk or something like that. What was it?
Yeah, no, I had a Russian relative say, "What do you do for a living?" And I proceeded to tell him, and he goes, "So you say your job is to make people happy?" And I was like, "Yeah, you can say that." And he goes, "What kind of bullshit is this, huh?" You know what though? Like 10 years later, that same relative came up to me and was like, "I listened to all your podcasts. I love it."
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
so
so
sweet.
nice. I love it. What kind of
And,
bullshit is this?
I
Sounds
know
like a prostitute.
I know what uh, eh, my grandfather is on my email list. I forget. And,
Oh, no.
when you send out an email list to your list, is, thousands of people, it'll have their name like, "Hey,"
Mhm.
and his name's Nikolai. So, "Hey, Nikolai," and then it'll be a whole email from me about what's coming up. And he thinks he's 91. He thinks that I'm just emailing him everything I have coming up. And he responds every time in all caps. And, very phonetic way of spelling things, and it's just adorable. It's so awesome. And he's like, "How do I sign up for meditation school? I wanna pay the monthly fee." And I was like, Grandpa, you don't need to pay." He's like, "I wanna pay. I'll send
Oh,
you a check."
a check. You're like, "I don't know what to do with those."
I know, a check. I remember those from the '90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh
adorable.
my gosh, that is really adorable. I love it.
Oh,
Brian's Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I have to share this. I went to
Okay.
visit him a few months ago in Florida,
Mhm.
and he introduced me to his rabbi, and he goes, "This is my grandson, David. He's a medication teacher." And
Close.
and then we walked past the lady at the front desk in his building, and he goes, "This is my grandson. He's not married."
Oh, that's
It's like
amazing.
out of Seinfeld. It's like true story. It's unbelievable.
Totally.
What were you gonna
In Florida too.
It's like, oh, right near Miami, right in that spot. So, what were you gonna say about Brian?
I was gonna talk about Brian's. The only grandpa story I have is Brian's, because I didn't have my grandpa's. I think they were both gone by the time I was born.
Oh,
But, his grandpa, Josh, he was telling us, and he was in his 90s at this time, and he was saying that his son, Brian's uncle, sends pictures of the grandkids, and he takes the pictures and he sends them on the long line. So he made a gesture with his arm stretching out, sends them on the long line, which I guess means email. He doesn't know what
oh,
it is.
okay.
So he's just visualizing it. Somehow it moves like kind of like the telegraph. It's a very long line.
You have to
Very
type
sweet.
really loud. Oh my
Types loud,
god.
like his hearing.
Yeah,
Oh, that's really
that's
great. And then my mother-in-law, she doesn't do this anymore, but she was up until about 5 years ago. You email her pictures and then she prints them up and puts them in a file drawer. But she prints them on paper. She doesn't even like print them nicely, which I could understand. And it's like, Mom, you don't have to do that. You could just open them.
oh my gosh. One day they're gonna be telling these stories about us, right?
Yeah, I
Like,
know. Yeah.
he didn't know how to use the holographic telegraph, AI, matter replicator. Oh
He
my
still
god.
uses dollars. I mean, like, what
Yeah.
even is that? What are dollars?
Yeah, exactly. Here's a gold coin, grandpa. Yeah. So that'll happen to us one day. I'm gonna have real bushy eyebrows and an attitude, and
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
yeah.
Brian is always talking about bushy eyebrows. Like he aspires to those crazy out of control eyebrows. He's very excited about that stage of life. Like
I
Donald Sutherland's eyebrows, they're like
yeah.
insane. You're excited too.
I already get them. I have to have my barber shave them down. They get crazy quickly.
Brian leaves them. He's like, no, 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 leave it. I'm like, let me just smooth it. He goes, no, I like it. It's like laurels that it's like a laurel that he has
You
earned, you
got
know.
you guys have too many cats.
So you have a kitty girl. Imagine. Do you call her Immy? Is what you've
I
been calling?
do,
That's
I do. I
yeah.
call her Emmy. Yeah,
Yeah.
and she's adorable. She was on my chest all morning in bed. I couldn't
Oh.
get up because she was just cuddling so hard, so it was really sweet. Yeah.
That's what I tell Brian. Cancel my day when that's going on.
Oh my god, it's too much. You know, sometimes I think about my life like this morning, I live right at the base of the mountains in Boulder. Looks
Mhm.
like the freaking Swiss Alps outside my house, and they're snow-capped right now. It just snowed. And I'm like, "This is unbelievable. I have this beautiful life I got to create." And then, you know, thinking back to both my grandfathers and grandmothers lived through the Holocaust, you know,
Yeah.
survived the Germans. And here I am teaching woo woo wee wee stuff on the internet and having conversations with you, and
Mhm.
and you know, they had to go through so much. So I try my best to be incredibly grateful
Yeah.
all the time,
Absolutely.
as much as
Standing on
possible.
their shoulders.
Yeah,
He's not married.
I know yes, I hear that all the time. Actually, this is probably TMI, but Google sent me like a search engine thing, an update for the month for, you know, meditation school, and it
Mhm.
shows you the top 5 searches, and one of them was, "Is David Gandelman married?"
Oh, that's cute. And you're like writing them all back individually. No, I'm not.
I was like, "Who Googled that 70 times?" It's probably my mom, yeah. She's like, Did he get it yet? Where is it? Did it happen?"
That's not how your mom sounds. I'm sure
Not at
it's not.
all.
No.
No, she'll choke me out if she hears me do that.
I don't think she's a subscriber. It's okay.
She is. She listens to every episode. She's definitely gonna listen to this.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so sweet. I
I
love
get
that.
I get a text every time. "I heard you." It'll be like, "I heard your talk with Tricia. Why are you talking crap about me?"
That's really sweet. See, I can talk about my family all day. They don't listen to this.
It's 'cause
I
you
don't.
work for
I'm
the
kidding.
devil. Yeah.
That's right. No, my family's not they're not fearful of that. They were definitely when I was a kid. But
Ah,
yeah, no,
okay.
they're not fearful. Actually, they're
Good.
all very psychic. They're all very psychic.
Oh, good.
Speaking of being very psychic, Emmy told you her name, though. She told it to you clairaudiently, right? When she
Yeah.
first moved in?
Yeah, I brought her home from the
Mhm,
pound,
mhm,
and I just asked her what she wanted her name to be, and it was just, like, showed up in my mind's eye, and I heard it. It was so clear.
mhm.
So that's what I call her. And I was like,
Oh.
"Imagine's not really a name," but then we came up with Immy for short, so, you
Do you
know,
ever
that
like, "Imagine, get over here."
never, no.
No. No,
You
that
can't
doesn't work
really
on cats anyway.
you can't yell at a cat like a
No.
dog. There's
Mm-mm.
no response. They look at you like you're a moron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
God, they're a really humbling animal because they literally are so intelligent and just do whatever the hell they want,
Mhm.
and there's no 2 ways about it, so, she's taught me a lot of lessons for sure.
What is she okay, so she sleeps with you at night? She sleep on your
So
body at night? Mhm,
sometimes, or in the morning, yeah.
mhm.
She's pretty damn cuddly, and I've been
Yeah.
thinking of getting a dog too. There's
Oh,
a
how fun.
place that trains seeing eye dogs, and some of them, you know, fail out, so
The labs, the
yeah,
Labradors, a lot of them because they're not loyal enough. They love
yeah.
everyone.
Contemplating getting one of those, you know. I travel a lot, so
Yeah.
that's been the reservation, but, I
Well,
hike every
dog
day, so it's
I
good
think
good to
dogs are
travel.
easier to travel because you can take them to a nice daycare, a nice doggy daycare, and they have fun there.
That's
Cats are
true.
harder 'cause you can't do that with them. It's too disruptive, too painful for them, so
Yeah,
yeah.
cats don't like change for sure. Dogs are just like, "Oh, there's a treat, I'll take it."
Yeah. But, yeah, it's great because you hike, all the time. I would love to but we have too many mouths and buttholes in the house right now, so that's why we don't get we're not getting any dogs. I miss having dogs, though, so much. Also, our backyard is kind of not great. It's not, the fence isn't good enough. But yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, I hike every day too. So I just really wish that I had a doggy with me
I
when
know,
I'm doing it, like a border
they're
collie.
special, super special companions. I've been dog
Mhm.
sitting for friends recently, like, testing it out,
Yeah.
and, that's been really helpful for me to see what kinda dog I can handle and which ones I can't, and it's great to have that kinda companionship. What's that saying? I always hear Eckhart Tolle say, uh,
Oh,
we we wish we were the people we think our dogs think we are. I
oh
wish I could
yeah.
be the person my dog thinks I am. Uh,
I heard Eckhart Tolle,
yeah.
it's in The Power of Now, I think, when he says, "I've had 7 gurus, all of them cats."
Yeah. Zen masters, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. Uh, and and I still love Eckhart so much. I so
Me too.
appreciate all of the teachings. I wouldn't be here teaching without his book. So
Mhm.
actually, the I didn't go with that publisher, but New World, which is the publishing company that did The Power of Now, I almost went with them and had a great chat with them. And it was like 20 years, almost to the year, to the day, month of when we were talking about doing this book with them. And so I read The Power of Now when I was 16. That's
Mhm.
how I started meditating, started down my path. And then 20 years later, here I am talking to the exact guy who did that book and put it out into the world, going, "Let's do yours." And it was pretty cool. It
Wow.
was an amazing kind of closing of some kind of circle for me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's, some people will stand back and call that the law of attraction, but, it's actually
Yeah.
my guides were just telling me the other day, it's that they were saying, like, you know you're gonna do what your soul is gonna do. Like, you have soul urges and you're gonna do it, but you kinda get to shape that. So if you're a healer, you were talking about healers being maybe imbalanced, you're going to heal. If that's kind of the archetype that you have
Yeah.
activated, you're going to heal. You can make money at it or not. You can do it in a way where you're codependent, or you can do it in a way where you're just gonna be
Yeah.
healing.
Exactly.
So that's what your soul went down, found Eckhart and went down a very similar kind of riverbed.
And, when I started down that path, ended up going to live in India. There was no, like, career path. There was no YouTube. There was no
Yeah.
podcasting. You
Yeah.
could write a book and get lucky, 1 out of a
Mhm.
million like Eckhart did.
Mhm.
It wasn't just luck, it was so good,
Yeah.
and all the other reasons. But, so I was confused in my early 20s because I knew what I was super passionate about, but I had no idea what I was gonna do and how I
Yeah.
was gonna do it. I was just lost.
Yeah.
So in the Himalayas, David just lost. "What should I do? I like meditating. I don't
And
know what
guys
to
with beards.
I don't wanna work in finance." Uh, Luckily, I came of age as a teacher as the internet came of age as a place to teach, and so I rode right in on that wave, and I feel incredibly fortunate. But the people around me, the ones I love dearly, closest to me, were all like, "What are you gonna do? How are you gonna make money? How is this a path?" Because they couldn't see it. How could
Yeah.
anyone see it unless you wanted to be a monk or something? And now there's, like, too many teachers. Oh my god, it's been an explosion of proliferation of spiritual teachers and meditation, mindfulness teachers and healers all over the world. And what I've found my role partially now is helping teachers
Mhm.
help them develop their businesses and their teachings. I get a lot of fulfillment out of that. Me and you talk shop a lot too because it's so fun. And so now there's this whole new area of where people need help. I think on Insight Timer now, there are over 12,000 teachers, just
Wow.
teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they just crossed over 20 million users on the app.
You
So
have 4,000,000 listens. I was looking at your profile yesterday.
I didn't know that, do I? Jesus, okay.
It says,
Okay,
yeah, I was like, because it says listens or plays, that's what they call it, plays, and it said
sure.
4, and it had a small m, and I was like, "I think that means million," so I went and looked at mine, and mine said something like 16K, so I was like, "Yep, that means million."
I've been on there a long time, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah, anyway, I love them, by the way, they're a great app, amazing people that
Mhm.
run it, really, really, really good. Probably the best app out there if you
Yeah.
wanna get started and find some teachers. So, Yeah, I got on there early because somebody was like, "Hey, have you heard of Insight Timer?" And I was like, "No, I have my own meditation program." And they're like, "Yeah, but yours costs money. Insight Timer is free." And I was like, "Rah, rah, rah, rah. Let me check this thing out." And at the time, there were like 400 teachers on there,
Mhm.
and so I got on and I started sharing, and then it just kind of opened up more and more for me. So I feel super lucky. I've grown with the app. I've gotten tons of feedback from students. They rate and they leave reviews and
Mhm.
comments and they message you. So that feedback has really helped me create better content over time to serve people in the way they want to be served. Because when you start off as a teacher, you're like, I found the truth and I will share it the way I want, take 100% or nothing. And the reality is, it's just not like that. Yeah.
I'm starting to beef it up there a little bit more, and so I don't have a big following there, but I have such a catalog of meditations that I'm like, well, I should put them up there because it's like, it's a great app and they have
You
great
should
company ethos. Mhm.
put them all up there,
Yeah, I
share it.
am. I'm just releasing them
Yeah.
once per week.
Oh, great idea.
Yeah. And so I only get positive feedback, although one person did comment and said, I mean, that was really good, but I don't know about $60 per year. And I was like, that was his comment on my meditation. I'm like, yeah, I'm
Oh,
not really in
you
charge
mean
of that.
because Insight Timer is $60 a year.
I guess so.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right, so $60 a year is $5 a month, and
Uh-huh.
with that, you get the,
So
you
great.
know, 100,000 meditations and thousands of hours of courses. I mean,
Hmm.
how much cheaper can it be than
Right. I
$5
know.
a month? They have a staff, they have 100 or hundreds of people that work there, and they're losing, Christopher, the CEO, just wrote a blog about this. They're losing $8 million a year right now because
Whoa.
they don't advertise, they don't market, they keep their prices very low. So when somebody's complaining about $5 a month, for 12,000 teachers to split, I think they need to go do something better with their time.
Agreed. Yeah. But I also thought it was a bit misplaced because I'm not Christopher.
Yeah, Tricia, why are you taking my one penny of the $60?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. So, but anyway, but the reason I was saying that, not only because I find that humorous to see that review on one of my meditations,
yeah.
but yeah, I just get really positive feedback, just meaning like people gushing compliments. I haven't gotten any like requests or even criticism, but that's probably because I'm, again, so small. But that's interesting. And actually, even the compliments or whatever the feedback is, um, they, if I may say, they seem very present. You know what I mean? They're not just like kind of general internet fodder of trolling or anything like that. It's
They're
like
kind, mostly.
kind, yes, and thoughtful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it blows me away. It's such a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, beautiful community that they've created on there. And they've really built out in the last 6 months a platform for teachers to teach workshops,
Mm-hmm.
have recorded courses, take donations. They're really trying to empower teachers to make a living on the platform. So I commend them for all of that. And at the end of the day, a lot of people just go on there to use the timer to fall asleep. Like a lot of folks I talk to, like, oh yeah, I just go there, I hit the timer, I meditate in the morning, or I use a sleep, thing at night, and that's all I
Yeah,
use it for, and that's cool too. So wherever you're at, whatever you need.
that's awesome. Well, I'm excited. Finally, I know you've been telling me about it for like 2 years, however long we've known each other. That I'm actually getting it going. And what's funny is that I've had, a handful of meditations up there, and the people, some of my students or whatever, and they have access to some of these meditations. Either I've put a few on YouTube, or they are members of my Mystic Arts Academy where they can actually download it. They still go to Insight Timer to use that same meditation. And I get it because it's easier,
It's easier.
it's on an app, it's right there. So makes sense.
That's why that happens to me too. It's just such an easy platform to use, and
Mhm.
so whatever with meditation school app or whatever I build, I'm always trying to make the ramp to get on
Yeah.
super easy and quick. And
Hmm.
all when Insight Timer started, it was just the most popular meditation of the day on top, and then you just scroll down. That was the
Hmm.
whole app,
Hmm.
and people loved it. You just knew what everyone was listening to at the top. It's like almost like a crappy YouTube algorithm, right? And then you just go with that. I love YouTube as a platform. It's one that I publish content on a lot, And then, I use Spotify, Apple, like put these
Mhm.
everywhere. Actually, I haven't recorded a sleep podcast of mine. I have a sleep podcast I haven't recorded in months. And I just got the metrics and they're getting like a gazillion downloads.
Oh.
And so last night I was like, all right, everybody wants sleep stuff. So it was like at midnight, 11:30, I was just recording some sleep content. And our mutual friend, Hillary Jackendorf, who's got the best last name ever. She's a yoga nidra sleep teacher, and we were messaging, and she goes, David, only you on the day your first book is published is up till midnight recording new content. You workaholic.
I keep forgetting you make invitations to me, and you asked me if I would record an episode for your
Yeah,
it's called Grounded.
the
Sleep
grounded
with Dave.
sleep.
No, it's
Ground, no,
Grounded.
not sleep with
Sleep with
David.
David
Nope.
Gandelman. Yes, it is. No, let me say it. Grounded. Sleep with David Gandelman. That's the name of your podcast. It is.
Oh, good Lord. I heard there's an app called Quinn, which is pornography for women. It's just audio, men telling stories.
Oh no, that's funny.
Like 50 Shades of Grey, kind of contextualized, whatever. And apparently it's making millions of dollars. I thought that was
Wow.
hilarious. I was like, if I ever fail in the sleep area, maybe I'll go over there.
Yeah.
But no, it's called the Grounded Sleep Podcast. And yes, I've been asking you for months if you want to make an episode. I'm sure.
All right, I will.
Love to have you.
I
Yeah.
know. I would too. Let's listen. I'm a Pisces, I'm a reflector, and I'm always like, I don't know where to go.
What does that mean? I don't know what those terms mean. You have to extrapolate that.
Well, you know what? I know it's so funny. You're even worse at astrology than I am. Well, you know what Pisces is? It's a water sign.
I don't. What does that mean?
You don't know what a Pisces is?
I only lived in LA for 2 years. I
It has
don't.
nothing to do with LA.
I'm just kidding.
You know what Pisces is?
I really don't. I don't know the signs.
Astrological sign.
I know that it's an astrological sign. I don't know
Okay,
the meaning
bingo.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's water sign. You know what? You're Sagittarius. You know, you're a fire sign, and
That much I know.
Sagittarius is like what I love about what someone said to me. I heard someone say about Sagittarius is that they're always chasing the sun, and I was like, oh, that's so Gandelman. Just like, there it is. I found it.
I can see that. See that. And so when you say so Pisces of me, so what does that exactly mean about you?
I'm just running all over watery. I'm so watery. I'm so, you know what I mean?
All directions.
Yeah. And also Pisces is the 12th in the zodiac. So yeah, just anyway. But the other thing I said was reflector. You know about that. That's human design. I know you took a little workshop.
What does that mean again?
Well, a reflector, all of my energy centers are open. So I have no totally undefined energy center. So I don't have any reliable or stable concepts in my chakras, my energy centers.
That sounds like not a good thing, or is that
It does sound like not a good thing, right? I know. The first time I learned about it, it was actually here in my studio. Olivia was here. Olivia Ray, our mutual friend. And also her friend who had come to a class, and I'd never met that friend before. And she goes, and after they were hanging out after the class, and her friend's like, "What's your human design?" I was like, I don't know what that is. And then she like puts up asked me about birth details, and she's like, "Oh, you're a reflector." And I was like, "Okay." And then I was like, "I don't know what that means." And she goes, "Well, all of your energy centers are open. See, like here's Olivia's profile, and she's got these defined energy centers, which is chakras. Nobody says chakras, and yours are completely open. So you don't have any characteristics, really." She said something along those lines. And so I was like, "So I'm not a person?
You're not reliable."
I'm not a lot. I'm very much not a lot of things. But the funny thing about reflector, I think, is because it makes my husband laugh every time I tell him. So one thing that's interesting about human design, you have like your signature, like the thing that when you know you're in, I guess you would say alignment or something, like you're working with your design. And then you have your not self theme. So you're a generator, and your signature is satisfaction, and your not self theme is frustration. And those usually really ring pretty true for people. They're like, "Oh yeah, I definitely." Like for a projector, like Hillary is, her signature is success, and her not self theme is bitterness. So yeah, and then there's also the manifester. Manifestors signature is peace, and their not self theme is anger. All very, very like interesting, respectable, like kind of divine directives. And then for the reflector, my signature is surprise, so I'm like a clown. Let's be. Seems so silly compared to like satisfaction and success and peace,
I love it.
Yeah. Anyway,
So
that's what I was saying.
someone could be like, I'm a excessive creator, Pisces, water sign, generator. Yeah.
I
Woo,
have
man,
gene key.
Enneagram number.
I
Yeah.
don't know Enneagram. I looked it up once and it didn't grab me. But then there's also the gene keys. Have you looked up your gene keys? I think you would really like that.
I've seen the
Mhm.
book. Yeah.
And you would really like the book, at least just listening to the book. It's really it's just really great spiritual philosophy. So you would enjoy
All
listening to
right.
it.
Okay.
Mhm,
All right.
mhm.
No, I'm ignorant of all this stuff. I can't keep all these definitions in my head. That's why I wrote a book where I just made up my own
You may.
truth. I mean, they're not made up, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
all these archetypes I share in my book are already out there. All I did was package them in a certain way that made
Mhm.
sense to me for my students. But I think it was easier for me to just, start from where I was and go with them that way and do what felt right
Yeah.
intuitively for me. And also, I think maybe I teach to a wider audience. And so I wanted to make something really accessible and digestible to the point where like, I've meditated a few times. You pick up the book in the airport and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I see where I'm deficient and where I'm stuck and where I'm
Mhm.
not living my purpose. And that could be helpful. So that was kind of the angle for me for the book. And I'm already starting to think about the second one because, I'm an obsessive creator.
Yeah. Excessive.
Excessive,
And
obsessive.
obsessive. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna come into your office one day. I'm just gonna be working. You're gonna be like, how'd you get to LA? Why are you in here? I'm like, I'm busy working. Get out.
I have the booth from 2 to 6.
Yeah. You get home, I'm in bed with Brian. You're like, what are you doing in bed with my husband? I'm like, I'm working. Get out.
That's weird. Now you're being an excessive lover.
My comedy brain just that's my inner artist as a comedian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, make sure you
Well,
tell
mhm.
Brian that before this podcast episode ended, I made a joke about sleeping with
Sleeping
him
with him,
and
yeah.
that and
Grounded, Sleep with David Gandelman podcast. The way I see it is grounded, Sleep with David Gandelman podcast. That's how I see it.
Stay away from my colon when I'm sleeping. Well, this episode has gone off the rails. It's great to be back on the Wait, no, you changed the name of your podcast.
No, I didn't. Why
Oh,
would
or did you start another one?
No,
I feel
just
like
with
I've been seeing
no.
you with some other titles.
Well, Crystal and I were doing Light Shine podcast for a little bit. Maybe that was
That's
it.
what it was. That's
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
we did a handful of those, but we got too busy. We couldn't keep it up. So, but we put some things up there a
Oh.
little bit. It's like you and Cody with Energy Matters, where
That's right. Yeah,
yeah,
we're in and out with that one. I'm on my 3 podcasts here. Yeah.
you're on 3. Wait, what 3? You have
I have
Grounded
the
Sleep with David Gandelman. Yeah.
meditation school podcast, where I
Oh,
do
you're
like
doing a podcast? Okay.
it's
I
like
didn't realize that.
short 5 to 10 minute kind of nuggets, that I
Mhm.
put on, YouTube, Spotify, everywhere else, and then the
Okay.
long form interview one with Cody, Energy Matters. Yeah, which leans more in the direction of, energy stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. I have many facets to me. They're all in this book. You can't pin me down to one, Tricia Carr. So don't even try to call me a generating Pisces, whatever the heck. All right. You can't pin this guy down.
Well, Hillary has actually become very masterful in human design, and she's actually giving chart readings now. And
Whoa.
yeah, and she's also we've both been getting into gene keys, and so we both signed up for this one course together, and then she got COVID, so we were gonna like go hang out and actually go to the first class together, but then she got COVID, so
Oh
we're having
no.
to revenge on that. But yeah,
Hillary did an episode for the Sleep podcast with her yoga nidra. So
nice.
yeah, you're next.
I'm okay. All right. Well, let's wrap up this episode so that we can plan all of those things. But everyone else, I want you to go to Amazon is the best place, right? Is it sold
Yeah.
anywhere else? Okay.
It's sold everywhere, but
Sold
Amazon
everywhere.
is kind of the spot, yeah,
Okay.
for
So we'll
better or
have the
worse.
link in the description. The Seven Energies of the Soul by David Gandelman. And there's also a subtitle, but you can Seven Energies of the Soul by David Gandelman. There's going to be a link here in the description. And then after you purchase it, leave David a review on Amazon. And then, of course, we have Meditation School, and the link is there as well. And then we'll put all of your other podcast links in there. And join this mailing list. I don't even know. There's so much stuff. So many ways to sleep with David Gandelman.
Oh, God. Mom, shut it off now. Turn off this episode.
He's not married.
We're going into the red zone here with Tricia Carr. Never recording with you at 2 a.m. again.
Get out of bed. Live with my husband. All right. No, for realsies, though. Thank you so much for coming on and talking about all these things.
Oh my God, it's my pleasure, Tricia. And if you're listening, you're like, what the heck, you two? You guys need to go on vacation together and hang out.
Yeah.
We do. We miss
We
each other.
do.
It's been 2 years of the pandemic. We haven't seen each other. So we're giddy. I
Yeah.
apologize, but thanks for hanging with us.
Well, by now, since we just finished the whole conversation, I guess you can tell that we're buddies, right? I got to tease him a little bit. And by the way, in case you didn't hear, he's not married. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you had as much fun as we did. And, he's such a great thinker, and he's so grounded and heart-centered and just also very forward-thinking and inspiring. I mean, yeah, he's my BFF. So there you have it. David Gandelman, everyone. Don't forget to check out all the links in the description if you would like to work with David. And of course, if you want to get his book, The Seven Energies of the Soul. And I have links in the description for the different things that I am offering. And I also want to once more invite you to please leave us a review. That would be so appreciated. And also, I'm actually doing, as I said in the episode, a lot more on Insight Timers. So check me out there. And that is what I have for you on this episode. Thanks for tuning in. I love you, whoever you are.